Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel. Jimin and Jungkook's arrival in Incheon wasn't just an ordinary airport event. Like many small events in BTS's journey, it seemed simple on the surface, but that's precisely where its appeal lay. Without a big announcement, without over-the-top gestures, without deliberate interactions for the cameras, their presence generated extraordinary attention. All eyes were drawn, not because of what they said, but because of how they appeared. Incheon Airport has witnessed hundreds, if not thousands, of BTS moments over the years. But every time Jimin and Jungkook appear, the atmosphere always feels different. There's a kind of silence that contrasts with the bustle. Not because things have become quiet, but because people's attention seems to be focused. Cameras are raised, whispers spread, and fans begin to observe every little detail that others might have missed. Interestingly, there's no single major moment that can be immediately pinpointed as the reason why this arrival is so talked about. There's no dramatic hug. There's no clearly recorded dialogue. There's no gesture explicitly meant to convey something. But it was precisely the absence of these things that made the observation all the more intense. Every step, every glance, even the distance between them became a topic of discussion. Jimin and Jungkook walked as usual, but normal for them never truly felt normal. There was a comfort that was hard to describe. Their movements weren't overly synchronized, but they weren't entirely separate either. It was as if they shared the same space without needing to assert it. Jungkook occasionally glanced around, while Jimin remained calm, his expression soft but reserved. There was no need to call out to each other or make grand gestures. Each other's presence seemed enough. Many fans noticed how Jungkook tended to maintain a consistent distance. Not too close, not too far. A distance that felt deliberate yet also natural. Jimin, on the other hand, seemed completely comfortable in that rhythm. There was no sign of haste or tension. If there was anything most striking about this arrival, it was their composure. In the spotlight, they didn't seem burdened. In a K-pop world saturated with image and performance, moments like this were captivating for their honesty. There was no choreography, no concept, just two people arriving at a public place, going about their schedules like any other day. But a relationship that has been built over the years makes even the smallest interactions feel meaningful to those paying attention. Longtime BTS fans know that Jimin and Jungkook have a dynamic that has evolved over time. What once might have seemed playful and spontaneous has now transformed into something calmer and more mature. This arrival in Incheon clearly reflected that change. There was no need for explicit displays of closeness. Instead, a mutual understanding was evident in the unspoken words. Many noticed how Jungkook seemed more alert to his surroundings. While Jimin seemed more inward-focused. This combination isn't new, but in this moment, the contrast was especially stark. It was as if they were subconsciously dividing their roles. Jungkook ensured everything ran smoothly, while Jimin remained at his own pace. There was no open discussion, no clear signals, but the collaboration continued. The camera continued to follow them, but Jimin and Jungkook seemed unfazed. Their expressions remained steady. There was no noticeable change in demeanor when they noticed the public attention. This made many feel that what they were seeing wasn't artificial. It was a habit, a comfort that had been established long before this moment occurred. This is what made this arrival in Incheon feel so powerful for fans. Not because something happened, but because nothing needed to happen. The silence between them spoke more volumes than any dialogue. Everyone watching brought their own interpretation, but almost everyone agreed that there was something warm and stable about that togetherness. Moments like this also reminded many people why Jimin and Jungkook are often the center of fan discussion. Not because of grand narratives or overblown speculation, but because of consistency. Over the years, these small patterns have emerged. The way they stand close together. The way they move without disturbing each other. The way they seem to be aware of each other without having to interact directly. At Incheon Airport that day, there were no official statements, no interviews, and no clarification. But fans didn't need it. They simply watched, observed, reminisced about similar moments in the past. This arrival was just one small piece of a much larger story. A story of togetherness built slowly, away from the dramatic spotlight. For some, this might simply be the arrival of two idols at the airport. But for those who have followed Jimin and Jungkook's journey over the years, it was a subtle reminder of the depth of a relationship that doesn't need to be explained. Not everything needs to be clearly demonstrated to be felt. Sometimes, the most meaningful things are those left quiet. As they finally stepped out of the airport, the attention slowly faded. But the impression they left lingered. The arrival in Incheon may have been brief, but it was enough to get many people talking about their dynamic again. Not in a sensationalistic way, but with a desire to understand. And perhaps that's why everyone was watching. Because in a fast-paced, noisy world, quiet moments like this felt rare. Jimin and Jungkook didn't need to do anything to attract attention. They simply needed to be themselves, walk side by side, and let the silence speak for itself. Thank you for watching until the end. Moments like Jimin and Jungkook's arrival in Incheon remind us that not everything needs to be explained in big words. Sometimes, the most memorable things are found in the small details of how they walk, how they share space, and how the silences feel so meaningful to those who pay attention. If you enjoyed this discussion that focused on subtle observations and the stories behind BTS's simple moments, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Your small support helps us continue to bring you calm, reflective, and meaningful content. Let us know in the comments which details caught your attention the most this time. We'll see you again in the next video. See you soon.